All right, let's do this. This is Luke Eccles coming at you from Fantasy Bro Sports with a little WGC Bridgestone fantasy golf content. Thank you all for joining. First thing I wanted to start off with, haven't touched base since the Open Championship. Took a week off there, but wanted to go over, the model hit big time for the British Open. We had 8 out of the top 15 in the British Open. We had 22 out of the 30 make the cut, so overall successful British Open. We used the same model, maybe a little different stats this week for the WGC Bridgestone, so very excited to share with you the results and our picks for this week for Fantasy Bro Sports. So first thing I wanted to start off with is just kind of a course preview. The Firestone Country Club is in Akron, Ohio. It's a fair test of golf. I've watched this course for years and years, all the way from when Tiger was dominating up until last year. So this course, very beautiful, fair test of golf. So this week, the stats that we put into the model were surrounded by strokes gained, tee to green, proximity to hole, strokes gained putting, and also driving accuracy. Looking back at the past winners of this tournament, I really feel like the top players kind of dominate. The players that are playing the best recent form. There's a lot of players that have a lot of good course history around here, and usually a big name ends up winning the tournament. So, going with that, weather-wise, it does look like there's a chance of thunderstorm, maybe Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday even. So, thunderstorms can pop up at any time, or cannot pop up at all. So that's just going to kind of be one of the wait and see things. Check back in on Wednesday, see if there's a weather update, we get any more firmed weather report coming out. But for right now, the weather's not affecting the picks at all. The next thing to go over is the model, the top picks for the model. The model's going to give out A picks, B picks, C picks, and then players to avoid. So with that, let's get right into it. Very excited about the results this week from the model. I think it's proven to be successful, and I'm very excited to share it with you all. So, right now, starting off at the top of the list on DraftKings is Dustin Johnson at $11,700. He's an A pick. He dominated last week. We've seen him dominate in the past. We've also seen him throw a stinker out there every once in a while. But right now, he looks dominant. If you can afford the price and you want to pay for Dustin Johnson, he's an A pick on the Fantasy Bros model. So next up at $11,300, Rory McIlroy. Also got Rory as an A pick. He is an up and down player. He did show a pretty good game at the British Open. Firestone, like I said, is a fair test of golf, and Rory's got it all. So, if you want to pay up for Rory, can't blame you there. Next up, is Tiger Woods. British Open, man, that was so exciting coming down on Sunday with Tiger having a chance to win. Definitely the pressure got to him, I feel like, but one of these times he's going to pull through and win it all. He dominated this course for years and years. Tee to green game is outstanding. I think number 6 overall on the PGA Tour. So Tiger has a chance to win this. The model, I think, has him at B pick right now, just because maybe some of his course history was in the past and not more recent, so he got knocked down a little bit. Proximity to the hole probably could have been better, but overall, he's a B pick. I think if you want to put Tiger in your lineup, which most people do, go right ahead. He's definitely got a chance to win this week. Next up, Justin Rose. Justin Rose has been just playing great year after year. He's got great course history here. Maybe not so much last year, but in the previous years, he's done well. He's putting everything together. He's one of the top ranked players in the Fantasy Bros model. Next up is Jordan Spieth. Right now, I got Jordan Spieth as a player to avoid still. He kind of popped up in the British Open and went away on Sunday. I don't have too much to say about Spieth other than, he's got a game that could come to play in any tournament. Right now, I still feel like he's kind of inconsistent a little bit. So, next up, top overall pick in the Fantasy Bros model, Ricky Fowler. Everybody roots for Ricky. He's primed to win. This WGC event would be a huge win. He's the best player right now not to have a major under his belt, but a WGC win with this awesome field this week would be a good notch on his belt as well. So going all in on Ricky this week for sure. Next up, a pick, Jason Day. Jason Day's played here in the past. He's great putter, best putter in the game. If he can get off the tee this week, he will have a chance to win. John Rahm, still avoiding Rahm at this point. Got Rahm as a avoid player. Just his up and down nature of his attitude, I guess, has me for a avoid player. I mean, the game's there, but he's got to get his head on straight. I hate that everybody talks about that with Rahm, but, last 2 weeks ago at the British Open, he had a bad hole, and then bad turned into worse, and worse turned into out of the tournament. So, he's got to be able to turn those moments around before he can be a consistent player on the major championship circuit, on the world golf stages. So, next up, I got Francesco Molinari. Molinari's definitely an A pick this week. He's on fire. His tee to green game is just amazing lately. Had so much fun watching this guy. I mean, he's making it look easy right now. So definitely all in on Molinari this week. I don't feel like he's one of those players that's going to fade too much after winning that big tournament. He's rolling. He's got the momentum. I think he's got his head completely on straight. I see Molinari contending this week as well. So next up at $9,200, Tommy Fleetwood. Got Tommy Fleetwood as a B pick. Definitely Tommy Fleetwood's tee to green game is amazing. His putter is kind of hit and miss. I mean, you see him having those really low rounds, 62, 63 rounds, where his putter's just on fire, and then he has rounds where he just kind of gets out of the tournament, can't make the putt. So got Tommy as a B pick. If you're feeling Fleetwood, then put Fleetwood in your lineup. I'm probably going to avoid him this week. Next up, we got Hendrik Stenson. Hendrik Stenson, he's going to be a B pick in the model this week. B picks by no means are players to avoid. A, B, and C picks are all players that Fantasy Bros model is okay with you putting in your lineup. Some players, though, we will avoid, and I will explain when we get to a player to avoid. But right now, we're at Stenson. Stenson is a B pick. He's played this tournament a lot. His tee to green game is awesome. If he can roll some putts in, he could win the tournament. But I definitely see top 15 for Stenson. He's a great golfer at the World Golf Tournament event. So we also got next up Brooks Koepka is at 8,900, and then Justin Thomas at 8,800. I'm going to avoid both of those players. Just think Brooks Koepka right now, he's all in on the majors, and I trust him there, but I want to see a few things at the other golf tournaments before I can completely trust him. Justin Thomas is maybe just trying a little bit too hard right now. I'm not really sure. He's got the talent, but his game's just not quite there. He's the type of player that can turn it around and win at any moment. But right now for this week, because of his inconsistency, gonna stay away from him. So next up, got a C pick, Alex Norn. Was expecting big things out of Norn for the Open Championship. Didn't do so hot, but still played pretty consistent golf. Expect him to be top 20 this week. Got Alex Norton as a C pick. Next up, Paul Casey. Model was high on Paul Casey this week. Paul Casey has had a chance to win a few weeks ago. Just played dominant, awesome golf, and then blew up in the final round, and Bubba ended up winning that tournament. But I have confidence in Casey this week. The model has confidence in Casey. Didn't put a little outright bet on Casey this week as well. Got him at good odds. So, yeah, don't be afraid to play Paul Casey this week. I think he can win. Next up, got Bubba Watson at $8,500. Got Bubba as a C pick. Put him in your lineup if you want. I always play Bubba at the tournaments. He does well. Here, he's kind of been hit and miss. He's got a 17th finish, 14th finish. He did finish second. So, if you're wanting to play some Bubba, he's got several wins this week on the PGA Tour. Him and DJ are maybe tied for the most wins this year. So, yeah, Bubba's playing good golf. You want to put him in your lineup, get him in there. Hideki Matsuyama, last year's winner. I feel like he was definitely playing a little better last year than he's playing at this point. So go ahead and avoid Hideki Matsuyama this week. Got Patrick Reed as a B pick. Patrick Reed has been up and down. We've seen him have some good rounds. We've seen him kind of have some poor rounds. But if he can put it together, he can win this tournament. Back in the States now. Definitely have Reed as a B pick. Don't be afraid to put him in your lineup. I think, just because the Patrick Reed nature, he'll probably go a little unowned this week or lower owned. So could be good value there. Next up, Patrick Cantlay. Kind of wishy-washy on Cantlay sometimes. I think he gets in his own head, but he's got a good game. He could win at any point. Got Cantlay at $8,200 on DraftKings as a C pick. Got my man Zach Johnson up next. Got Zach Johnson as a pick this week. Zach Johnson's been playing real well. Zach Johnson's had really good tournament history here at Firestone. So have him as one of the top-rated players again on the Fantasy Bros model. So don't hesitate to roll with Zach Johnson. Get him in your lineup for sure. So next up is Tony Finau at $8,000. We've seen Finau play some really good golf lately. At a course like Firestone, hitting tee to green like Finau can, he could be in the mix right there. We've seen him in the mix at the majors, at the big events lately. It's only a amount of time before he wins one of them. So got Finau as a C pick here. No tournament history, but could still see him having a really good finish this week. Next up, Mark Leishman. Mark Leishman's a B pick on the model. Mark Leishman's got some course history here. Maybe not the best course history. He does have a third place finish in his past, but he's a good player. If he finds his putt and stroke as well, he could roll right up and win this tournament. Would be a very big win for Leishman. Schauffele, Schauffele's been playing really well too. I trust him. I have him on the C pick as a model. I probably trust him personally a little more than that to do well this week, but the model has him as a C pick, so I'm going to play him as a C pick. Maybe have about 10-15% of Schauffele in my lineup. Next up, we got Matt Kuchar, $7,700. Have Kuch as a B pick. Very solid pick for Firestone. He's got the course history. His tee to green game is outstanding. Sorry about that. I had to move the computer up a little bit so I can see my picks here, but Kuchar played this tournament a lot. Always had decent finishes. Cooch. He's probably not gonna win the thing, but he easily is gonna get a top 15 likely. I mean, that's what you've come to expect. So next up, maybe a little bit of a sleeper, Brandon Grace. Grace has played this course enough to know his way around. He's got some good stats. He got a good putter. Got Brandon Grace as a B pick. $7,600. He fits really well in your DraftKings lineup. So next up, Webb Simpson. Got Webb Simpson as a B pick. Webb's played good lately. I think golf courses where it's a fair test of golf, somebody like Webb that just does everything well is going to do well at a course like this. So I could see a top 15 finish for Webb Simpson. Got him as a B pick on the draft, this Fantasy Bro Sports DraftKings model. Next up, Adam Scott is another sleeper pick. I mean, people have kind of lost faith in Adam Scott. I feel like he's coming back. He kind of switched his putter back, not anchoring it, but playing long putter, and he's been putting well. His tee to green game is still one of the best. So I could see him getting the top 10 this week, maybe top 15. Charlie Hoffman's been playing well. Have the Hoff as a C pick. Don't be afraid to get the Hoff in your lineup. Oosthuizen, just the same, $7,500. Good value there. His proximity to hole is really good. He's got good course history here. He's a C pick on the model, so don't be afraid to use Louis. Phil Mickelson. I mean, I got Phil Mickelson as a C pick. I've been down on Phil the last couple weeks, just, with some of the drama he's created himself. But he's had a couple really good rounds lately, and I know Phil loves being in the limelight, and he's pushing to win. So with his course record here and the way he can putt, I mean, Phil could win any tournament. I mean, I could see a top 10 here for Phil. Still avoiding Sergio Garcia. Need to see Sergio play some good golf before kind of go back all in on him. The next player I want to talk about, Russell Knox. Russell Knox is a C pick on the Fantasy Bros model. Go ahead and get Russell Knox in your lineup, $7,300. Good value there. Another player I feel could play really well, Kevin Chappelle. We've seen him play well recently. I think recent form is important here. Tee to green game, he's a good putter, so don't be afraid to play Chappelle. He's a C pick. Got Luke List. Luke List doesn't have any course history here, but he has been playing real well. Tee to green game, one of the best in the game, 5th on the PGA Tour. So if he can roll a few putts in, he could get a top 10 as well. I've heard some talk out there about Kyle Stanley. Gonna try to avoid Stanley this week. Another player I kind of wanted to talk about is Emilio Grillo. Been hearing a lot about him. I'm avoiding him this week too. I kind of think Grillo, although I like his game, I really compared Grillo to Molinari in a lot of ways, but Grillo's just kind of a head case. I feel like where Molinari is a little more focused on winning golf tournaments right now. So kind of avoiding Grillo. A couple other guys I wanted to talk about. At $7,000, Austin Cook could be a sleeper and a good person to put in your lineup to get somebody like DJ or Rory in there. Same as well, Adam Hadwin. He's been playing a little better, has played this course before, done well here. He's a great putter. At $6,900. I mean, Adam Hadwin could be a really good price golfer this week. So, with that, those are kind of some of the players I wanted to talk about that the model presented for DraftKings. Really excited about those players. I'll come out a little later in the week with my optimal lineups for DraftKings, both for cash and for GPP. So definitely be looking for that at bro_fantasy on Twitter. Also got Facebook page that's Fantasy Bro Sports on Facebook as well. So keep an eye on both of those things. So right now, just to kind of recap a little bit of what we went over. The top 10 golfers that the model presented this week. Price not included, just value wise. Number 1 overall was Ricky Fowler. Number 2 overall was Justin Rose. Number 4 overall was Dustin Johnson. Number 5 overall was Zach Johnson. I mentioned him as a player to avoid, but Jordan Spieth was ranked 5th overall in the model this week. We got Hendrik Stenson was ranked 6th overall in the model this week. Paul Casey come up as 7th overall in the model this week. Jason Day, number 8th on the model. Rory McIlroy, number 9th. And Molinari, the hottest player in golf right now, rounded out the top 10 on the model. So all of those guys I'm all in on. I mean, those are the guys I'm focusing on. Fowler, Rose, Dustin Johnson, Zach Johnson, Jordan Spieth, I'm avoiding. Hendrik Stenson, Paul Casey, Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Francisco Molinari. I mean, those are my top 10 picks for this week. So with that, the next thing I really wanted to move on to were outright picks. I put some outright bets out there today. Pretty excited about them. I went ahead and put some money down on Ricky Fowler at 18-1. I also took Francesco Molinari, trying to ride the hot hand again at 25-1. Put a little bit of money on Paul Casey at 38-1 odds. Was happy with that. And then also went my guy Zach Johnson at 45-1 odds. So with that, good luck this week putting together your DraftKings lineup. Like I said, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please share the videos. Follow us at bro_fantasy on Twitter. Fantasy Bro Sports on Facebook. Please follow us. Share the videos. Reach out. I like to be interactive. If anybody's got any questions, I like to talk sports. So if anybody's got any questions, let me know. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, and good luck to all this week. Have a good one.